was in
I
Chicago.
like Lonzo.
I hate when he got hurt, bro. Y'all remember that? I think about 4 years ago when they had DeRozan, maybe 5.
I think he needs some fresh air too.
Who?
Lonzo.
Zoe out of Chicago?
Yeah. I think he could be a solid point guard in the league. Like
He
maybe
more solid than people
like you know who
give
can
credit.
use him? Denver can use him. Like backing up Jamal right now, or maybe playing with him.
What's they going to do?
Move Jamal to the 2.
Did you move years ago?
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you heard what Paul Pierce just said. Shout out to the truth. Paul Pierce, the legend. You know, he was touching bases with Garnett. We got 2 Hall of Famers discussing big baller brand basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about the situation. Paul Pierce, he let it be known that, listen, Lonzo Ball is a solid point guard. You know, a lot of people, you know, get him mixed and screwed. Give Lonzo a lot of props because he was able to recover, you know, from, you know, the injury that he went through. It was an unprecedented injury. What he was able to do, you know, is truly unprecedented. I know that people, the critics like to joke and make fun of Lonzo, but we got to really admire that about him. Now we go into the next step, you know, which is next season. We all know Zoe is coming to play. And I just like what I heard, you know, from, you know, Paul Pierce, because he started to talk about Lonzo in a winning situation. Also, Lonzo starting. You know, the Chicago Bulls have used Lonzo as a jack of all trades as of late. You know, Lonzo Ball, you know, and I love that Paul Pierce kept emphasizing point guard, you know, because when I was watching the Chicago Bulls, now I want to give them a little credit because the Bulls have been through an influx of talent. They've moved just about everybody except for Vooch and Lonzo. And now you have them there with a team that looks like they got 1 foot in the rebuild and 1 foot out. It's just very tricky to see Lonzo not bringing the ball up the floor, especially when he has the highest IQ on the basketball team. And that's not just me to say, you could just see it evidently. You know, it was times where Lonzo was on the floor, the team is flowing. Lonzo go to the bench, everything, the lead, everything has just been surrendered. Then Lonzo got to come back in to get things situated. I've seen that countless times, you know, with Lonzo on the team. I don't like to see Lonzo playing small forward. You know, I think that was something different. It was even times with the Lakers where Lonzo may have been in the corner. It was times in New Orleans where Lonzo was in the corner, you know, but Lonzo was never playing small forward, you know, and what is happening now is I'm trying to figure out why is the ball being taken out of his hands. You know, obviously the Bulls maybe want to go in a different direction. You got a lot of young people. You moved Alex Caruso, who very well could win the NBA title for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, so you got Josh Giddey there. So let's say oppose you stuck with Giddey. You know, you ain't just gonna let Josh Giddey go because of the production you seeing from Caruso. Even though Alex Caruso, like I said, the Bulls had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They never was trying to win. You know, so they just let go. Just basically gave Caruso away for nothing, you know, for a guy that they might not be as high on, because I don't believe they gave Giddey the extension. I'm not sure what the talks are on that, you know. So it's just very crazy what Chicago is doing. So I would love to see Lonzo in a situation like the Denver Nuggets. You know, number one, that's a winning environment. That's something that Lonzo, you know, outside of that year, you know, with DeRozan and all those guys, that's never going to happen again. You know, obviously DeRozan went to Sacramento. Zach LaVine is in Sacramento. You know, so we really got to just move on from all of that. How does Lonzo get back into winning basketball? If you look at Chicago, they're not going to be any better next season. You know, Chicago strikes me as a team that just needs to really embrace the rebuild. You know, you got Boo Zillis out there. You got young talent, you know, to really, you know, get behind and possibly build in these upcoming drafts that's coming up. You know, so the Bulls shouldn't. That's the worst spot to be in. You know, the middle, trying to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't want to say they're in the middle. They at the bottom trying to act like they in the middle. They got 1 foot in the middle, 1 foot in the play in and out. So the Bulls got to figure out what they want to do, because I feel like they've been in this treadmill position for the last couple of years, not really making any progress, not really going anywhere. So, Lonzo, you went there. Why'd you sign there? And I understand that the Bulls took care of you. See, that's another thing. I don't believe Lonzo is going to run amok and get nasty and say, "Get me up out of here." The Bulls have done nothing but give Lonzo nothing but gratitude through this time period of him missing all this time. They've been behind him. You heard Lonzo come out and speak about how the Bulls organization was behind him. So give him credit. And he's gonna put on for them. He one of the last people left, but he signed there to play with Zach LaVine. Then they got DeRozan and company. They thought they was gonna be competing. If you look at Lonzo, okay, you suffered the injury that set you back, in terms of your trajectory, but you still got to reach the playoffs. Lonzo hasn't touched the playoffs yet. So you're talking about all this elite talent in the Ball brothers, including LaMelo. Throw him in there. They have never touched the postseason where basketball truly matters. I want to see Lonzo's playmaking ability on full display in the postseason, where performances live forever. You understand? Okay, you had a good game on TNT. You had a good game on ESPN, but when you do it in the postseason, it's immortalized. And that's what I want to see for Lonzo, whether it's in Chicago, Denver, Miami, New York, wherever. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen next season in Chicago. So what do we do? What do the Bulls do? Do the Bulls want to continue to have this influx of talent that don't really fit timeline-wise? Or do you want to embrace the young talent and get people more on the timeline that you may be looking like you want to go on? Or if you want to really compete, start moving some of this young talent and bring in a fish. So I mean, listen, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's Flight Sports TV. Shout out to Paul Pierce. How would Lonzo fit? Could you imagine a pick and roll with Lonzo and Jokic? You understand? I'm just saying, Lonzo could play right alongside Jamal Murray. You see what Westbrook did. Lonzo would be a significant upgrade over Russell Westbrook. If Lonzo gonna come off the bench, let it be for a championship caliber team. But I believe Lonzo, he's still young. He's recovering from this injury. Lonzo is a starting point guard in the NBA. Starting. And the Bulls, I don't know what's the plan for Lonzo. Do they ever have him getting into that starting lineup firmly? Not when somebody get hurt and we need to bring you in. I mean, you're supplanted in that lineup. Like I said, we can go all day on this. Let's get in the comment section. I'm going to be going live, and we're going to touch bases on this. It's going to be a big situation. Let's touch bases in the comment section. Let's get interactive. It's Flight Sports TV. Peace and love.